Technically, we are under legislation. We are under the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. And the Free Trade Agreement does not allow us to do local when it's over a certain threshold. The threshold for goods is $25,000. So we wouldn't be able to buy one vehicle for $25,000 at this point, not very often. So the way it stands is we have to put it out publicly, and we even go as far as babysitting our local vendors. We send them addendums, we call them, we do everything we can to get them to bid. They don't bid.
It's Bill here from the Kawartha Insider.
And Doug from the Kawartha Insider.
Well, we had a tour of all the dealerships in Lindsay the other day. It was pretty interesting.
It was, yep.
A lot of good things and some really concerning things come out of it. One is that most out of all the dealers in Lindsay would have likely bid on that tender if they had known about it. They weren't contacted. They were very clear about that, most of them. They feel the tendering process that the city has out is very difficult for any of the dealerships to bid on.
And time consuming.
And very time consuming, you're correct.
Which would be expensive.
Well, it ties up a lot of time bidding on something that, in their view, they likely wouldn't be successful at. That was the main thrust coming back. They didn't really appreciate what the staff had said in regards that they went out and knocked on their doors, sent them emails, actually babysat them. They felt that was a complete insult to all the car dealerships, which I would have to agree. And on that note, if this was the private sector, both of those people would have lost their jobs in a heartbeat. And my opinion is that both these people need to be brought back in council and explain what they said that wasn't true and what they didn't do.
We are under legislation. We are under the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. And the Free Trade Agreement does not allow us to do local when it's over a certain threshold. The threshold for goods is $25,000. So we wouldn't be able to buy one vehicle for $25,000 at this point, not very often. So the way it stands is we have to put it out publicly, and we even go as far as babysitting our local vendors. We send them addendums, we call them, we do everything we can to get them to bid. They don't bid.
And it's up to council to make that decision whether or not they're fired or they're disciplined financially or however they decide to do. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, we're as Kawartha taxpayers, we're saying that these people need to be more respectful to the car dealers and respectful to the taxpayers and business taxpayers of the area. They need a chance to bid on these processes as well as outsiders. I'm not saying that it's not right to have the outsiders bid on this, but I want to see that it's more fair.
Well, one of the things we learned is in the Canadian Free Trade Act is that they would be allowed to have preferential bidding.
So in one sense, that's 100% true, and that's where she got very cloudy quoting that act, saying that it was impossible for them to pull that tender back in, that the council had to accept it. That's not true. That is what they used to call the interprovincial trade agreement between provinces. So what would have had to have happened was that that tender would have had to gone out to another province, say, example, Quebec, and that they felt that they weren't treated fairly by the municipality, and they could have complained, but it really doesn't have any teeth. It's not like our international trade agreements where there's mechanisms and dispute resolutions and panels that deal with issues between the countries and that. So they really stretched, that's the issue here, they really stretched the excuse why the council had to accept this tender from outside the city. If you have a buy local and you support buy local, then why isn't our policy allow our people in the city to bid on tenders from every aspect that the city requires services or goods? I mean, we can understand that on a bridge, on structural infrastructure, that's different. But when you're talking about goods and services that the city requires, we have the businesses right here in the city that could fill those demands that the city requires. So what we hope out of this is that the council and the mayor actually sit down and have a meeting with the dealers and see how they could tweak the tender process to make it more attractive and to make sure that all of our local dealers, no matter whether it's cars, soap, or whatever service it is within the city and the city requires, that our local businesses get access to those tenders. For Fourth Insider, this is Bill.
And for Fourth Insider, this is Doug. Thank you.
Thank you.